This video is on purpose. So a really good value of yoga to wrap up the course in a way. You know, we talked about the 8 limbs of yoga, and every single limb could potentially come under the heading of purpose. So find your why. I want to start with giving you an outline of what we're going to talk about in this video. So number 1, we're going to talk about the fact that sometimes we try to find meaning and love and contentment in career success, in wealth, or keeping ourselves busy. So I'm going to suggest some other ways of finding meaning in life. Number 2, those who have a clear purpose in life are more resilient. And number 3, some clues to finding purpose. I'm going to outline some clues for you. So let's go back to the start. There's a beautiful quote by a German philosopher called Friedrich Nietzsche. Excuse me if I've pronounced his name incorrectly. But he said, "He who has a why can bear any how." So that's what this is all about. If you have a why, a reason for your life, or you have a meaning in your life, or a purpose in your life, you can get through really difficult situations in a better way. You have more resilience. So sometimes what happens is we look for meaning and love and contentment in our career, climbing the ladder, or getting more money. We think, when I get this house, I'll be happy. And we just sort of keep ourselves busy, and we're sort of always trying to fill this void, always trying to feel better by keeping busy. But actually we find, even when we do all of these things, we still feel like there's something missing. And this feeling is actually a feeling for looking for meaning in your life. And so how do we find meaning in life? Well, some people, they have a bit of a breakdown, or someone dies in their life, someone close to them. And there's a guy called David Brooks who wrote a book called The Second Mountain, and he talks about, the first mountain is, when we're sort of on that first mountain of achieving success, and then something happens and we go into this valley and we struggle. The struggle is important and necessary because that can help us find a more meaningful life. So just want to say that up front, that if we're in a moment of struggle or a deep struggle for a period of time, this can sometimes not be a bad thing. It's a bit of a misconception in society that going through struggle is a bad thing. As long as we know this is, the process we are going through to get to the second mountain. I'll explain more of that soon. So the second point, those who have a clear purpose in life are more resilient. So this is what the science tells us, that those who have clarity of purpose are more likely to deal better with adversities that come up in life. And sometimes, if we go through a period of struggle, if we find our workplace not very satisfying, or we feel like there's just got to be something more, or we have a health scare, this can help us go into this period of seeking internally, and that's much more healthy than turning to alcohol or drugs or keeping busy or shopping or food. So we do lots of different ways to fill that void, but a better way is to turn to yoga or to start looking after your well-being. So the third point I want to talk about is, how do we find our purpose? What are the clues to our purpose? So don't worry if you feel like you don't know what your purpose is. Sometimes it feels a little bit upsetting when someone's talking to you about purpose and they're like, I'm not complete, I don't know my purpose. As long as you're getting curious, that's a good place to start. It doesn't just drop on our doorstep. I like to say, just start being open and curious. So the first way we can get curious about finding our purpose is paying attention to your energy. So are you kind of low and not very passionate about your life? Or are you talking excitably about your passion to others, or like telling people what you're excited about? So really pay attention to your energy. Number 2, know yourself. So what makes you weird? What makes you different? What makes you feel good? So this is different for all of us. So for me, I'm quite a sensitive person, and it took me years to work out that this is actually my strength. So sometimes if you feel deeply, and those qualities are sometimes not as appreciated in what we know as, you know, the modern context in workplaces. But for me, I realized that that's what helps me connect really well to other people. So I wanted to work more one-on-one with people rather than in the office in management like I used to. This is where, you know, finding your inner strengths and where they're most valued. The next point is micro adventures. So taking time away from your phone, getting out in nature. I've got a friend of mine, and he goes out, you know, into the West Coast for a week at a time and disconnects. And he always says he comes back with a lot more clarity, good reflection time. Our minds need this. We need this to feel and generate these inner qualities of contentment and love and joy, really. Reading. So get inspired by others. If you don't have inspired people around you, find it in books and podcasts, and just keep reading. Keep reading about personal growth. Keep reading about, like generating your own passion. Just keep reading about what brings you joy, and keep being inspired by others. And also, all of this can lead to giving to others. Usually your purpose does involve giving to others. We're social beings, so often, you know, if we get a little bit low, one way to help us out of that is just to start volunteering, you know, and in a meaningful way. So for me, I was feeling a little low when I was working in the corporate world, and I knew there had to be something more. So I started volunteering with a program called Adaptive Athletes in Auckland, so for young people with physical and mental disabilities. And the joy these young people felt when we were simply learning to throw a ball, or, you know, the feedback I got from some of the helpers there, how much they appreciated my compassionate qualities or my fun side. And I felt like those strengths of mine weren't as recognized in the workplace that I was actually in. So I started to take notice of these things. And these are our clues. These are clues to my inner strengths, clues to my purpose. How can I get my life more aligned to activities that involve my strength of character? All right, I hope you've enjoyed this video on purpose. It's a big topic, hard to talk about in a small amount of time. This is an overview. So just to recap, number 1, we try to find meaning and love and contentment in things like our career, wealth, or keeping ourselves busy. But what's better is to, you know, just simply notice if we're getting that feeling and start to get curious about what could top up our wellbeing bank account. That's the first starting point. And number 2, remember that those who have a clear purpose in life are more resilient. So if you have a clear purpose, when things come along that are challenging, you're more likely to be able to stay stronger and cope with those things, because you've got this bigger purpose that's more important, you know. So number 3, and there are clues to finding purpose, paying attention to your energy. Know yourself, really get to know yourself, get curious about yourself. Go on micro adventures, time away from technology, amazing. Reading, listening to podcasts, and giving. How can you meaningfully give to others? I really hope you've enjoyed this video on finding your why on purpose. Namaste.